Good morning. I'm excited to be back and doing an unedited episode for you here today. And this episode is going to be about how to get the best from an investment that you make in your business. So generally the tips and the things that I'm going to talk about are to do with investing in coaches. But it may work for any type of investment. Let's see. I haven't really thought that far ahead. And I am speaking from experience here, having invested so much in myself right since the very start of my business. And it really does collapse your timeline if you make a good investment. I'll talk about that at the end. But yeah, investing in yourself is something that I would highly recommend, but it can go very wrong. I'm very lucky in the sense that it hasn't at all ever for me. But I've spoken to a lot of people who have been burned by their investments. So actually, I will speak about that first because I'm talking about that. So before you invest, before you make an investment, it's important to invest from a place of safety. And what I mean by that is, if you've listened to the podcast before, you might have heard me say that any action has an energy. You can take an action from a place of abundance and possibility, expansion, from a place of desire, or you can take an action from a place of scarcity, and the energy there is contracting, and it's like investing from a place of fear and lack. Okay, so this can happen very easily if you're not aware of it. You can end up investing to try and get a quick win, or you can be swept along by FOMO tactics, fear of missing out, especially with launches and what do they call them, like pre-sale prices or bonuses, all of those things. Just be aware of what those strategies are doing in your nervous system and with your feelings. Like if you get swept away and invest from a place of lack, from a place of not wanting to miss out, then your return on investment can match that energy because we get back what we give out. Okay, so just do your research before you invest. Use your discernment and find out what other people's experiences have been. Make sure that those people that you ask are empowered themselves, because it's easy to not get the best out of an investment if you are not empowered. More of this to come. That's what this whole episode is about. But yeah, just before you make your next investment, trust your instinct and be careful not to be swept into investing from a place of scarcity or fear of missing out. And if you have been burned in the past, then forgive yourself for that. That can feel very heavy, especially if you've invested a lot of money and been very disappointed in the results that you've got, or if the hype and the marketing were a very different standard to what the program looked like once you got in. Unfortunately, there is so much of that in the online space. And I'm sorry if that has happened to you, but do not let it cloud your potential moving forwards, because not everybody is like that. And there are incredible coaches doing incredible work, getting amazing results, and are better than their marketing. Their spaces are better than their marketing. So yeah, if you've invested and been burnt in the past, basically do not let it hold you back from investing again, because that would just be like holding on to the poison. Basically, it's stopping you, it's holding you back in a way. And yeah, by the way, I'm probably will talk about Powerhouse Portal, which is my group, at some point during this episode, because, well, number one, I'm super proud of it, but I want to let you know that it's evergreen, and that means that you can join at any time. So I don't open the doors and close the doors with launches, and so my marketing has to be even better than if I was launching, because I don't do things like pre-sale prices and things like that to try and get people in. Like, I know I know it's worth, and know it's amazing. So I'll talk about that a bit in this podcast episode too. And the fact that it's evergreen, by the way, is incredible because it's a mindset program. You get to see, like, if you join, you get to see what that deep inner work transformation looks like ahead of time. Because when you arrive into the program, there are women in there who are 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 months ahead of you when you join. So yeah, it's amazing in the sense that you get to see ahead of time what the transformation looks like. Anyways, this episode then is about tips to help you get the best from any investment that you make. I would grab a pen and paper if I were you, because there are going to be lots and lots of really, tangible, like actionable pointers that I'm going to be sharing here. And the things that I'm going to share also, they're not just about how you show up inside investments that you make, coaching investments that you make. It's actually like applicable to how you show up in life anyway, because life is a mirror. We get back what we are, right? So if you can be the best client, I'm going to be sharing with you tips on how to get the best from your coaching experiences. And what I mean by that is how to be the best client. If you can be the absolute best client for your coaches, then you will get that back. I've seen it so many times and it's amazing. Okay, so number one, learn what it means to have an empowered mindset and show up this way. This is great for life and business as a whole. Victim mindset will get you nowhere fast. I have never actually spoken about what I'm speaking about today, and yet I have the most incredible clients inside Powerhouse Portal and in my one-to-one spaces. They lead themselves in the way that I'm expressing today, even though I've never actually taught them to do this. They watch how I hold myself, and through nonverbal communication and how I've coached them just allows them to mold into the most empowered client. And they are like that when they show up. I think that's because I attract that, because I am that. So yeah, all of this matters if you want to get the most amazing clients to work with too, because it's so important how you hold yourself and how you show up for yourself. Because like attracts like, that's just energetics, right? So yeah, if you're unsure about what an empowered mindset looks like, then every tip that I'm about to share captures and describes like tangible examples of how to show up as an empowered client. Someone who takes responsibility for their learning, their struggles, their results, everything. So I've already lost count of my numbers. I think this is number 2. Get committed and show up for yourself. Like every step of the way. Do not allow excuses for reasons why not to show up. Okay. And if you are in a group program where you get one-to-one coaching on each call, then treat it like a one-to-one container, in the sense that don't miss a call because you have nothing to ask. Expect to get value from every single call, and you will. It's about your intention. And that matters so much. It focuses your mind. Number 3, do not waste an opportunity. Okay, what I mean by this is it's kind of adds on to what I've previously just said. Yes, treat it like a one-to-one container in the sense that you would never not show up to your one-to-one call, so don't not show up for your group program. But if you're having one-to-one coaching in a group call, then absorb the coaching of other people in the space too. Because so many times I've learned things before I've needed to learn them. And that magic of a group container is amazing. Like, especially if you are a little fish in a big pond. And that's my story, right? I invested heavily in myself right from the start of my business. And I was the little fish in a big pond, and it felt stretchy, and it was so good because I learned so fast from the other women in the program. So it's good. Like your mindset, having the right mindset and the empowered mindset is so key for every part of your business. But in terms of if you are the little fish in a big pond when you show up inside a container, amazing, celebrate that. Like, yeah, it's so good. I'd much rather be a little fish in a big pond than a big fish in a little pond. Like, what's the point? I always want to be the dumbest person in the room. Next one. This is interesting and so key. I might go off on a little tangent, but it's super important. Like what I'm about to share is literally the reason why I created Powerhouse Portal. Which, by the way, if you don't know what Powerhouse Portal is, it's a group coaching program solely focused on mindset support and inner work, subconscious reprogramming to get rid of the subconscious limiting beliefs that are holding you back in your business and causing resistance. So yeah, I created this container because there is a deep need for it. I spent 18 months in a high level group coaching program and saw time and time again absolutely incredible women holding themselves back because of their mindset and their subconscious limiting beliefs, going round and round in circles, questioning self strategy, doubting themselves, getting overwhelmed. And 9 times out of 10, their questions, they weren't about strategy. And like, I literally had to sit on my hands sometimes because I just wanted to like type some mindset support. And I did, but obviously, like, you know, there's a way that you hold yourself. You don't want to like what do you mean? What am I trying to say? You don't want to like, I'm not the coach in that space. So like, obviously there's a way to do it sort of, you know, so you don't become overpowering. But yeah, seriously, like I sat on my hands so many times, every single call, like, because so much of it was mindset, like a need for mindset work in order for those women to get the best out of their investments. And so I created it, and yeah, like it's amazing. Like doing like investing in the strategy is absolutely incredible, but investing in the mindset alongside the strategy will skyrocket your results from that strategy because you get your subconscious mind on board with your goals. If you're not doing that deep inner work to get rid of those invisible subconscious blocks, then it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter how committed you are to a strategy container. It doesn't matter how many of these tips you implement and are so focused on getting the best. If your subconscious mind is not allowing you to achieve those goals because it doesn't feel safe for you to go there, then it's going to hold you back. You'll hit an upper limit, and no matter what you do, you'll not be able to break through that upper limit. So having that deep mindset support alongside strategy investments, or even before those strategy investments, before your next strategy move, do it. Like, do not hold yourself back from doing the inner work. It's such a game changer. Anyways, I'm going to talk about what it looks like then, what I've seen, what that resistance looks like. If you're in a strategy program and you're lacking that deep inner work, it will be the biggest block to your return on investment. Like, mindset is the biggest block from stopping you getting the best out of your investment. So I'm just going to break some of those things down that I've seen happen so many times. So number one, I have seen it many times where somebody invests in themselves and then like completely disappears for weeks and weeks at a time. And obviously some of those will be like life dramas or whatever. Like, there'll be, what's the word, valid reasons for some of those. But I spent a long time in a high level group coaching container, and so many of the times it was down to it's basically worthiness. It's a sign of a worthiness problem. If you pay for support but don't actually allow yourself to get the support, what's going on there is a worthiness issue. Subconsciously, you don't feel worthy, so you hold yourself back from showing up authentically, you know, not like allowing yourself to ask the questions that you really need. And yeah, holding yourself back, whether that's literally holding yourself back by just going AWOL, or holding yourself back in terms of not allowing yourself to powerfully get the support that you really need when you're most vulnerable, let's say. Number two, feeling triggered by other people's wins and successes, or feeling threatened by others in the space. Like, others are a competition rather than supportive peers. Like, I'm sure you probably know this. There is enough for everybody, and other people's success doesn't limit your opportunities for success. Like, abundance is limitless, but it doesn't matter if you know that but you can't feel it, right? Our feelings are driven by our subconscious programming. So it doesn't matter if you know it, but can't feel it. If you feel triggered when somebody posts that, like, their success for the month and you've not had a good month, if you feel like that makes you feel down on yourself, then there's subconscious programming to be done there. Like, it's great for you to be able to feel like nothing limits your success, because that is ultimately true. And if you know it but you don't feel it, then there's a mismatch between what's going on subconsciously and what's going on consciously for you. Next one: having all the resources, all the knowledge, all the strategy at your fingertips, ready to put in action, but feeling massive resistance and procrastinating on it. So the procrastination, the overwhelm, the delay is all a sign that your subconscious isn't on board with those goals that you have. And so it's throwing spanners in the work, left, right, and center, putting you in loops of stop, start, and sabotage, creating dramas in your personal life even. And dramas inside the business, like, let's say, client dramas. When you're trying to work on the business, something kicks off in your client space, or payments default, or some kind of challenge comes up. It's your subconscious manifesting those dramas because you have hit an upper limit and your subconscious does not feel safe to allow you to reach your next level. So resistance is, if you're feeling resistance and overwhelm and procrastination, and you're noticing loops of self-sabotage whilst you are in a strategy program, then the reason for that root cause is that your subconscious does not feel safe for you to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. And in order to get your subconscious to feel safe, it's about subconsciously reprogramming the limiting beliefs that are holding you back. And whether that's fear of success, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, all of them, or success has to be a struggle, or they are all so common. And it's easy to spot. It's easy to feel resistance and to spot and to even know what your limiting beliefs are. But it's a whole different thing to actually try and get rid of them, because your subconscious doesn't want you to get rid of them. It's there to keep you safe. And it's got those limiting beliefs because of the experiences that you've had. And so it doesn't want you to reprogram those limiting beliefs, because why would it do that? It's got them for a reason, and it wants to keep you safe, and it doesn't care about your dreams, your visions, your goals, doesn't care about any of that. And so that's why your limiting beliefs are so protected and buried deep in your subconscious mind, because it just doesn't care about thinking a different way. It doesn't care about it. So hypnosis is such a powerful way, and NLP as well, both my modalities, really, really powerful way to subconsciously reprogram those limiting beliefs for good, so that you do feel safe, so that resistance can disappear, so you can just crack on and achieve your goals and break through your upper limit. This is the point of my work. Okay, next one. No, I've completely lost count. We might be at number 5. I think we're at number 5. Share your vulnerable moments. Okay, so you are in a coaching container to be held and supported through the highs and the lows. And I say the highs because celebrate yourself. Really, really celebrate your wins. And that, if you can't do that, then there's a subconscious block for you, because you are worthy of celebrating. And the more you celebrate, the more reasons you get to celebrate. It's the energy of celebration that you are in that focuses your mind towards that. Where you focus your energy, you'll get more of. So if you're focusing on what's good, on what you're celebrating, and what you're grateful for, right down to the smallest of things, that's so, so powerful. So celebrate, and celebrate some more. But also show up in the low moments too. Okay, because what's the point in investing in yourself if you only show up when you feel good? Like, no, you want to be able to be held and supported through those low moments. Otherwise, you're just going to waste your time, and you're just going to miss out on your potential to bounce back faster. Okay, so I remember a week after jumping into this high-level group coaching program that I was a part of for 18 months, I jumped in super fast and actually didn't realize it at the time, but my coach saw something in me and knew I had the potential to be okay to jump in there faster than she would, faster than like if you looked how early I was in my business, probably would not put me in that space. But she trusted her instinct. She saw something in me and she invited me in. And I'm so grateful that she did, because like I said earlier, I was a tiny fish in a massive pond, and it's been great. I've had the right mindset all the way through. I've been empowered. I've done all of these things that I'm sharing with you here, and it's got me really, really far. But I really remember well, about a week after, maybe 2 weeks after jumping into this container, which, like I said, I was very new to my business at the time, hadn't even heard of coaching when I, just before I qualified. So I didn't realize like how much coaching investments were, but I invested in a smaller program first with this coach, did really well, and then went into the high level one, like paid £10,000 to do it, to be there for a year. And that was massive at the time. I really, really backed myself. But yeah, I got in, and I just remember this overwhelming feeling. By the way, at the time, my twins were about 18 months old, I think. We didn't have much. They weren't even at nursery. I don't think they hadn't started nursery. So I was relying on nap times, and evenings, and basically didn't have a huge amount of time to be working on the business. And yeah, about 2 weeks after, I just felt this massive wave of overwhelm. And it, like, the sort of the moment that the sort of peak of this overwhelm was, I was watching some training, and it was sharing all about how to set up the tech, and sharing words like Zapier and Airtable and Kartra and all the things that I'd never even heard of. And so I just felt so overwhelmed. And I remember posting a vulnerable post in the group. Bear in mind, I was very new into the program at this stage. So yeah, just showed up on the post, and I was just like feeling super overwhelmed, feel like I might have jumped in too far, but too soon. But I'm here now, I'm going to make the best of it. And I can't remember exactly what the post said, but it was an empowered post. I wasn't showing up for support and being like, oh, poor me, I'm overwhelmed. Not at all. It was coming from a place of empowerment, but I wanted to show up for myself and share that I was feeling vulnerable at that time. And yeah, it's been the most amazing journey. Next one, tip 6, ask good questions. So the better your questions are to your coach, the deeper your learning will be. And this does take thought and preparation time. And I'm not going to lie, I have rocked up to calls so many times with nothing to ask, because I was not prepared. Like I said, twin mum with not much time at the start of my business, not much nursery time. So the weekly coaching call rocked around really fast, but I didn't feel shame about that and decide not to show up. I still showed up, and still got value from the call, but I'm here to share the best tips, right? So a good tip for you is to open up a note section on your phone and just keep that for as you're going about your week. If questions pop into your mind, write them down, because you won't remember them otherwise. When the call comes around, you can refer back to that and ask those questions. Next one is, I want to jump forward to something that, because it links nicely. Next one is, some of my biggest learnings from my coaches that I've been with has been the experience of watching them and seeing them hold themselves. So the next tip would be to consciously observe your coach, who is most likely further ahead of you, right? Consciously observe them and observe how they handle situations. And at the same time, remember to zoom out and ask questions that help you understand how they think. Ask some questions to help you understand how they hold themselves through highs, lows, how they allow themselves to break through. What do they do to, if they feel like they've hit an upper limit? Ask questions about their business, their boundaries, everything. Because yes, you invest to help with your business, but see it also as an opportunity to have a peek at the next level and open your eyes to what's coming for you too. Ask all of those big questions and you will learn so much. Okay, next one is network. And this is relevant if for investments for group coaching programs. See it as a massive opportunity for relationship building too. So put effort into that, because the relationships and the friendships that I've formed from the programs that I've been in have been worth the investment themselves. Not just in terms of like collaboration opportunities, which has been absolutely incredible, but actual friendships, people who get it, who get what it's like to be an entrepreneur. Because not most of the time, but I'm sure you'll resonate with this. Often you start your business and people around you in your real life aren't doing that. And so these connections with like-minded people are so valuable to allow you to feel supported, who get you, who want to see you win and want to support you. That is the most, not that your friends and your family don't want to support you and want to see you win. Obviously they do, but it just feels different when you form friendships with people on the journey too. They get those challenges. They get what it feels like when you're facing challenges, and to have that support is the most special feeling. And I'm so thankful for all the amazing women that I've been privileged to be coached alongside. Like I said, that's been worth the investment in itself. And that comes from being proactive in those spaces. So yeah, take that opportunity, be empowered and network with the other women or men inside the coaching containers that you are in. Next one is very much about being empowered, and it's to think for yourself. Okay, if you're coming to your coach with a problem or a challenge, try to predict what they're going to coach you. Come up with your own ideas. Come up with suggestions of solutions, because that will stretch you and help you to evolve so much more quickly than if you just go, here's a problem, help me. You'll get so much more out of your coaching experience. You'll strengthen that muscle of being self-led so much more powerfully. And this leads nicely into my next tip. Don't expect your coach to solve your problems for you or tell you what you want to hear. Okay? Their job is to get the best from you. That's why you invest. And sometimes that might look like lovingly and gently calling you out on your bullshit or your self-sabotage. Okay? That's a good thing. This is why you invested, to up level. So a victim mindset is to, like, if your coach triggers you, the victim mindset of that is to be pissed off at the coach and to sulk and to complain, bitch and moan and spend days being in your little pity party. Like, no, you do not want to do that. Your coach, as long as you choose well, your coach is your biggest cheerleader. They see you, they see your potential, they want to see you win, but they are not afraid. They're not there to be your friend. They are there to get the best out of you. And so sometimes good coaching looks like lovingly telling you what you need to hear. And sometimes that doesn't feel comfortable, but you can be empowered about that. And I mean, I'm speaking as a mindset coach, and so I support my clients with their mindset. But I can imagine it must be a bit tricky though if you are in a strategy program and your coach triggers you and you don't have anywhere to go with that. But being empowered is super important. So You know, we can't actually see our own blind spots. You can't spot all of your own patterns of self-sabotage. So you want your coach to be calling you out on your BS. That's basically what I'm saying. So don't be afraid of being triggered. Don't, like when you are triggered, get back your own power, be empowered about that, and lead yourself powerfully through that. Do what you need to do to work through that trigger. Triggers are really healthy. Triggers are really valuable. If you don't get triggered, you don't like. Hello again. I didn't realize. Well, I did. I was so like into what I was saying that I didn't pause my sentence, ready to start again. So this is part 2, but stitching it to part 1. So what was I saying? I got somewhere along the lines of we can't spot our own patterns of self-sabotage. We can't spot our own blind spots. So we want our coaches to be able to call us out and show us our loops of self-sabotage. And oh yeah, that's what I was saying. When you're triggered, being triggered is actually really healthy. It's a really good thing, because all a trigger is a sign of something within you that needs healing. Because everything that is happening in life is neutral, right? Nothing's positive or negative. So if we put this through the lens of your coach triggering you, what they're saying is neutral. It's not designed, like, it's not going to trigger you. The only reason it will trigger you is because there's something subconscious there that causes you to feel called out or embarrassed or ashamed or whatever that uncomfortable or angry, whatever that uncomfortable feeling is that's triggered you. All it means is a sign of something to heal. Okay. So we can celebrate our triggers. Absolutely, we can celebrate our triggers. And I had an experience quite recently in Powerhouse Portal where I said something that I coach powerfully. I'm not scared of saying what my clients need to hear. I love them so much. I have their best interests at heart. I know their potential. I see what they can do without their limiting beliefs, and it's my job to support them through removing those limiting beliefs. And sometimes that means saying something that might trigger them, and that's okay. I'm not scared of that, and it did happen quite recently. But I was so proud of my client. It triggered her, and she came back. She thought through it. She noticed what the trigger was, and she's been in my space for a little while. So, she's learned to do this through the things that I've taught her. She noticed the trigger. She worked out where it came from, and she just showed up so powerfully in her response. And I was like, wow, that's so, so cool to see. And so, yeah, if you can be empowered even when you're triggered, that's the way to really get the best from yourself in life, in your business, not just in your coaching containers. Anyways, next point. I think I might have finished. Yeah, I have. I've got some notes here today. I've actually been organised for once. This is actually this episode is a post that I wrote for next week. So I've repurposed it into a podcast episode because I realised I've never actually spoken on this before. So let's wrap this up then. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions about anything that I have shared today, or you would like some more information on Powerhouse Portal, I've talked about it a little bit today. I'm so, so proud of this container. And like I shared earlier, the reason it exists. And it's really super powerful. So if you would like some deep mindset support, some subconscious reprogramming to support you in your business, and you would like to find out some more about Powerhouse Portal, then you can come directly to me. Just message me on Instagram with the keyword Powerhouse Portal, or you can email info@jennaholloway.com with the word Powerhouse Portal, or just Powerhouse. Or if you'd like some more information and also watch a training that shares more about what the invisible blocks are at the moment. Like, everybody's got invisible blocks. Unless they've done so much work on themselves, they will actually still come across them, because every level you get to, there are new challenges, new layers to uncover. You might have heard the expression new level, new devil. But waffling, Jenna, come on, what am I saying? If you want to know what your invisible blocks are in your business, and you think you know some of them, but maybe not all of them, then there's a really eye-opening free training that I have recorded. And you can access this. If you go to the show notes, you can access it. Or if you just want to, access it via the link in the show notes, or via the link in my bio on Instagram. It's called Blind Spots. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for your support and being here. And by the way, do you like my new branding, my new imagery for the podcast? I'm absolutely chuffed to bits with it. I love the energy. So thank you so much. Shout out to I'm going to shout her out. She's called Kath. If you want some amazing graphics for your business, your program, I'm going to shout this lovely lady out. She is called Kath Guadalquiver. I'll put her link in the show notes. Enough for now. I'm going to go. Thanks so much for listening. See you soon. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Bigger Than You podcast with your host, Jenna Holloway. If this episode has been valuable to you, please share it with a friend or leave a review.